This video is sponsored by Squarespace. The coolest thing about the new Night Lords upgrade sprue is that you can use it to make Night Lords out of any other model. So this week I decided to kitbash together a 6-man team of space vampire wannabes out of the new upgrade sprue, as well as whatever fun parts I had lying around the studio. So to start out, I thought these Chaos Warrior bodies from Age of Sigmar would make a perfect starting point. They have a great medieval look to them, perfect for someone who wants to look like a vampire. I've had these bodies lying around for a while now. I painted one, and he's pretty cool, but I can't really see myself painting an entire army of these chaos guys anytime soon, so into the Kitbash blender these bodies go. Wow, that sounded way more morbid than I thought. And as you can see, these bodies fit together kind of perfectly with the Night Lords upgrade sprue. Sure, they're a little bit taller than your average Chaos Marine, but we'll just say they're Primaris Chaos Marines. Yeah, that's right. I test fit everything with poster putty, then glued it all together with plastic cement, and used as much as I could from the Night Lord upgrade sprue, and mostly got away with keeping the included vanilla Space Marine sprue intact for hopefully another project. I did have to steal a few things from that sprue, including a few arms, shoulder pads, and a plasma gun, and 6 backpacks. I did my best. I still think that's pretty good, and I can still see myself being able to build another full unit of Chaos guys with the leftover sprue, and a bit of part replacement and ingenuity on my part. With that said, these guys still don't feel kitbashed enough for my liking. I want them to really feel like evil space vampire knights. So I busted out some spare parts that I still have from my second copy of Cursed City. Don't ask me why I have 2 copies of Cursed City. And I got to work vampirizing these knights. And mostly, I'll be honest, I just added a lot of bats to everything. I put a bat here on the ventriloquist, a swarm of bats floating above the rogue type guy, a bat wing hanging off the skin thief's arm, and I even gave the leader of the pack, the Night Lord Visionary, her own bat wing backpack. I think this really helps her stand out as the leader and sets her apart from the other figures. Finally, I thought the plasma gunner didn't have enough flair, and our team could use a mascot. So I took this little treasure imp from Cursed City, gave him a bat head instead of the usual imp head, and replaced his missing hand, which was attached to the headpiece as happens sometimes, with this little skeleton hand. I then put the whole thing onto the plasma gunner's base, which I think looks really cute, and as a side benefit, it helps cover up that Stormcast head hanging down from the tabard. As for the rest of the skeleton that I stole the hand from, I thought it would be funny if he tagged along too with the group. His mission from now on is to get his hand back from that pesky imp, so I glued him onto this perfectly sized nook on the back of the ventriloquist. Perfect. I then added a few more details, such as these butcher knives from the upgrade sprue onto the skin thief. I thought he might need them to steal more skin. And finally, I used this dollar store fake jewelry to give everyone some chains. You can never have enough chains. For the basing, I went with something pretty simple. I thought there was enough going on with the models themselves, so I kept the bases pretty clean, pretty minimalist with just a few pieces of slate and sand. But do you know what else can be pretty clean and minimalist? That's right, it's this video's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website and hosting platform that me and my Night Lords have been using for centuries now for all of our website needs. And whether you choose to start with one of their sumptuously designed pre-made templates, or whether you choose to go with their new guided Squarespace blueprint system, which asks you a bunch of questions and then builds a custom template for you. Either way, I think you're gonna have a good time, you're gonna make a cool website, and I think you're gonna find that building your website is as easy, if not a little bit easier, than building a model kit of Chaos Space Marines who think they are vampires. So whether you want to build an online store that accepts a variety of credit cards and flexible online payments, host a gallery of your own painted miniatures, or anything in between, why not check out squarespace.com today for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Dana Howl for 10% off your very first purchase of a website or domain. And with all of that out of the way, let's get to painting. For painting these models, I started out without any sort of plan and just let myself have a bit of fun for once. Starting with the usual black prime and then an overspray of this really fun desaturated new turquoise color that I picked up from the new Vallejo game color range. I like that this color is a bit of a greenish blue, but it still clearly reads as dark blue, not turquoise. I think that helps for it to contrast really well with the red. And speaking of red, I used what is currently probably my favorite red color, Pro Acryl Bold Pyrrole Red, to paint all of the bat wings and reds on the model. And I should note here, I'm just saving time by using my airbrush. There is absolutely no reason you can't apply the blue and red with just a regular brush. It'll just take you a little bit more time, and if you were to do that, you could probably even maintain some nice deep black shadows in the recesses, which is something you kind of lose a bit by using the airbrush. With the airbrushing complete, I sat down at the painting desk and used one of my favorite dark rusty red-brown colors, Pro Acryl Mahogany, to base coat any of the parts of the model that I don't want to be blue or red. So like the armor trim, some of the guns and weapons, any cloth or leather straps, anything that will eventually be bone or skin. Like I said, anything that's not going to be blue or red eventually, I base coated with this color. I also use this mahogany color to add bits of shading to the armor and the bat wings in some places. It's a really versatile color, and I think it complements the red really nicely as a shade color, as well as contrasting really nicely with the blue. While I did this, I also made sure to clean up any overspray from the red or blue work I did with the airbrush, and I added another coat of red or blue in any places that I thought could be a little bit more vibrant or clean looking. And after all this tedious cleanup work, I gave myself a little bit of a break and painted on a bunch of the skulls using a pale sand type color. I forget which one exactly. As well as painting skull face paint onto a lot of the helmets, which I think helps them look more gothy, a little bit more like a metal band. After this, I just had a lot of fun with various edge highlights. For the armor plates, I just mixed some pale sand in with the base blue color to get a nice highlight color. But for a lot of the other highlights, I actually thought it would be fun to try pencil crayons. I know that's a thing people do now, and I wanted to give it a try. So I bought a cheap set of colored pencils, and yeah, it seems to work pretty well. You can just use the side of the pencil, rub it against the miniature, and it highlights your edges for you. I found it does give a little bit of a grainy looking finish in certain places, but once again, I bought like the cheapest pencil crayons from Amazon, and I have a strong feeling that if I were to buy like a nice set of pencil crayons, this technique would look really, really good. So maybe that's something I will have to investigate in the future. But the main reason I wanted to try pencil crayons for these models specifically is because I thought it would make freehanding the iconic Night Lord's lightning motif that they often have on their armor much, much easier than freehanding with a brush. And once again, yes, I think it works pretty well. Here's how I did it. First, I made sure to sharpen these pencils thoroughly and often. This is less important when you're doing edge highlighting, but more important when you're doing this sort of freehanding. I used a light blue pencil crayon at first to draw on the basic lightning bolt pattern. Then to finish things off, I used a small brush with a good point on it to add just final finishing touches with a bright white paint, just sharpening off certain points or adding points of light to specific places. And yeah, that's basically it. I did most of my highlighting on these models with pencil crayons. I did still rely on paint in certain places to highlight things where the pencil crayons weren't quite intense enough, and in any parts where I wanted a glowing effect, I just laid down a layer of pale sand and then used yellow and orange contrast paints to create a typical glowing OSL effect. And that's about it. I had a lot of fun painting these models. Kill Team is one of the games I feel really passionate about right now, so please let me know if there's any other Kill Teams you want to see me paint on the channel. I would be very happy to do so. If you have any other questions about the specific techniques or paints that I forgot to mention in this video, make sure to leave a comment down below and I will answer as many as I can. Thank you to all of our lovely patrons for their ongoing support, who allow me the budget to buy things like new Kill Teams and just to generally pay my expenses to keep the channel running. So thank you very much, and I will see all of you in the next video.